Howdy, everyone, and welcome to the first full Rogue review. I'm gonna start peppering these in every once in a while, mainly because the holiday season, I'm kind of blacked out at Disney, and Universal will be a little bit repetitive. But we're gonna have just kind of throw these in every once in a while. And I have an awesome, amazing person you've seen before, talented artist. Let's bring her up in here. We have Dreaming Tabitha here again, and she came in clutch time and saved the day for me. I
That's right.
must thank you very much.
That's right. I'm putting out fires all over the place. You're welcome.
So we're going to talk, as the thumbnail shows, Hocus Pocus 2. I know it's a little late, but it's still before Halloween, so we're in the right time frame. This is going to go pretty simple. I'm going to explain my movie grading to people, and we're going to bring the theme parks into this. We're going to grade based on wait time. So a walk-on means this
Wait time. You mean my weight? Your weight?
I'm not talking about anyone's
Okay.
weight. I'm talking about time here, not weight. It's all relative though. But we're gonna basically base this off of wait time. So a walk on means you do not want to watch this movie again. You're gonna run right through it and go home and have a beer. If you're gonna wait an hour, 2 hours, that tells you how good the movie is. The longer you're gonna wait, the better that film is. Just to say, like Empire Strikes Back to me would be a 90-minute wait. But Snakes on a Plane is a walk on. Just to give you an idea. So, like I said, we are talking Hocus Pocus 2. Oh, wrong button. Right button. And we have 8 of you in here, and no one's commented yet, which is weird.
Robert Wiles has. He says, be blessed.
Okay. Oh, wait. That's my fault. Let me fix this quickly. It says that we are private for some reason. There we go.
What?
Public.
No, I'm watching this right now because I need to.
I know
the
the chat on this side was private on StreamYards. They did a weird change recently that happened to me the last time where you have
platforms going through puberty right now.
Yeah, so oh, okay.
It's all good.
So I'm seeing chat now, so cool. All right. So like I said, we were watching Hocus Pocus 2. Robert, nice to see you in the chat as always, as well as Streambot.
Right. Well, you did say it's around Halloween time, and there's a lot of lurkers out there. So I think
yeah. A lot of people. Yeah. No problem. So first of all, Tabitha, I have to ask: do you have any previous, musings with Hocus Pocus? Are they the worst witches? No, I don't know.
Well, so my history with Hocus Pocus, like when I was little, when I was about 8 or 9, I heard of this movie, but we didn't watch stuff like that growing up. And so, I mean, like I knew it was there, but I didn't watch it. So the first time I ever saw the original Hocus Pocus was maybe 4 years ago.
All right.
And I liked the first one. I thought it was funny. I watched it with my mom. We were like, you know what? Let's just watch this. Like we got together and we're like, just watch this.
Well, that wasn't really my. So I was the weird child that watched Hellraiser at age 5. So
No.
I didn't. I did watch Hocus Pocus, and I always thought like I had a thing for the teen girl with Kristen Dunst was in it, right? The original one.
I don't know. You're asking the wrong person.
It's been forever. But let's talk the sequel because Disney's hitting the well again and trying to nostalgia us into some form of feeling. Mm-hmm. And Disney's normally amazing at nostalgia when done right. So we have the origin story of the Sanderson sisters, which I don't know if anyone was really asking for, to be honest. Oh, Kelly Walden, hi. How are you doing? She is a avid. She's almost at every one of my streams now, so thank you very much. The second one, we will get into our reviews, but thank you for. Yes, I kind of agree, but I'll pepper that stuff in. I will say I do love the casting for the younger Sanderson sisters. I think they picked people that really played well to match their elders. Mm-hmm. My only problem with the Sanderson sisters in general, and I'm curious what you think, is the modern telling of it. They're not acting like people of the time period.
It did feel very much like a play, is what hello, is what I would say when I was watching it, the second one, and the opener comes on, and I like, wow, everybody's very stoic. This is very Scarlet Letter, and not in a good way, you
They're also like
know.
self-aware. They're very self-aware a little bit that they're in a production.
It looked like it too. You know, when I was doing a contrast, like immediately after I watched the second movie, my sister-in-law, she loves Hocus Pocus. We decided to watch the first one, and it was like, wow, what a difference. Because yeah, this opening scene with all of these characters, while they look good and everything, it looked very much like a play.
And first of all, like the aging of everything is a little bit weird here because you're having like 15-year-olds, which would be considered adults at the time.
Yeah.
And then you have some people like, hey, dude, you look like 50. You wouldn't be alive. You may not be cooking right now. Like, there's a little bit of, but I do appreciate them casting correct age wise. But I just, her motivation of like, I didn't need to know the thing about her and Billy Butcherson. Like, I didn't need to know that it's been forever. Like, okay, fine. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a story that needs to be told.
Well, for
But
me, it's weird too because of the fact that like where were their parents? And if that got explained, I don't know. And it just seemed really odd
I think
that
they
there
should have
was
aged. They should
yeah,
have aged up Sarah a little bit.
yeah,
Or
like that she was literally when she was, of course, the older sister, but she would be the older adult sister looking
yeah,
after the younger ones. That would have made so much more sense rather than three children living in a shack by themselves, secretly, not secretly, being witches. Or if they would have had their parents there to try to protect them, and their parent, here's where the
if
arc would have been fantastic,
parents would
betrayed
have
their
passed.
children.
Yeah,
Yeah, that would have been great. So this was an awkward opener, but yeah, the children did a good job, maybe too good of a job in my opinion, a little bit cringy, but they did a good job of representing the adults. They did. Spot on.
I the other thing I would think of is that logic, just putting logic in. If these were three children, like preteens, living by themselves, they would have probably accepted that arranged marriage to help stability for the
Well, but it's a
family.
kids movie. They don't, they're trying. It's one of those difficult things when it comes to movies like this. It's like basing fiction with reality. Like, you draw from certain things and you put it for today. And so, I mean, I think there's a silliness, if you will, to the fact that she is rejecting an arranged marriage because it's bringing it to, well, at least when I was growing up, oh, boys have cuties and that's just so
Yeah,
gross. So it's believable, it's relatable to kids today because they don't understand arranged marriage. That might be a little bit too much, too historical.
yeah. So then we move on from the origin of the sisters to the new
Hmm.
troop,
Yeah.
which this is where I had a hard time. The first film was so about family.
Yeah.
And you could and for Disney at the time, you actually had a male lead, which isn't really a Disney thing. Some of those straight to TV Disney movies did have that, but you
Okay.
had a very relatable thing. The guy does not want to take care of his little sister. He
Yeah.
wants to try and
Wants to be cool.
he wants to try to go out with the cool girl. Like
Yeah.
it's an understandable story. Now you have three outsiders that you have no buildup of their characters besides the fact that they're outsiders. Right? It's like you're just
Yeah.
seeing them as outsiders, which doesn't fully make sense in today's day and age because the outsider is pretty much accepted. Like it's a weird concept.
But like
Like
she's a confident, knowledgeable young girl. That is not necessarily accepted because she doesn't abide by trends, but she's confident. And so people don't like her because they don't understand her because teenagers are typically not a lot of teenagers are either very awkward or they're very arrogant. They're trying to find the middle ground. So I think with this middle character here, she's the outsider cool kid. I've seen those. I know what those
yeah,
are. And then you've got her friend over here with the eye scarf and everything like that. She's the weirdo. You could just tell.
it's the three
She's
sisters. But that's
yeah.
what you're seeing. You see the three sisters. You're seeing Winifred in the center. You're seeing Sarah as the one with the boyfriend, the one who's a little bit more popular, the one who
Hmm.
blends in. And I forget the name of the one from the other one. I can't
Yeah,
remember
I
the
don't
name.
remember her name either. I didn't
That
really
shows
see
you
them.
how. That shows you how bad I am.
In the beginning, I didn't see them as reflecting the sisters until later on in the movie.
Yeah. Oh no, it's definitely something you come across later on, but
Yeah.
they are filling those archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
The one in the middle is definitely being Winifred.
Right.
She is the one in charge. She's the glue of the group.
The
She
nucleus.
is. Yeah. So I also have no issues with any of the actors in this.
Yeah.
I don't think the acting is the issues. I think the issue is tone was not made correctly. Like they didn't meld a good like family modern tone, and I think that's one of the issues. But it's more of like how things going. And here's the biggest.
This guy was a little bit weird to me.
Yeah, like
a little over the top.
Yeah, you're running you have a magic store. You have a lot of young kids in the magic store. Like, and you have no employees, and you're very connected to these younger. It just seems odd. About him.
I mean, there's that. I think because he does seem he's an interesting character, but he does seem to be a kind of
Mary.
Winnie, Mary, and Sarah. He does seem to be kind of a flighty male, right?
Yeah.
Very theater troupe kind of dude, if you know what I mean. And so,
but that's the other thing. We never see the parents of any of the kids throughout this.
We see the governor.
Yeah, but we don't see like in the other movie. You have all of you see all of the parents. They get taken control over. Like more players, so to speak. You have the mayor, and you have some of the people going to the show later on, which we'll cover later. Mm-hmm. But it's sort of like they're getting rid of like I said, the family aspect is only with the sisters.
Well, but Disney's been doing that ever since shortly after the Hannah Montana era. So she only had the dad, and they slowly started getting away from family values to parents are idiots. They don't understand teenagers. They just don't get it. And so Disney's been doing this for like over a decade, just slowly maneuvering away from the importance and the grounding and everything like that of parents. Parents can be silly. Of course they can do stupid and silly things. Like even in the first one, the mom and the dad were a little ditzy. But you know what?
Yeah.
But it's because it was a kid's movie. So of course you don't want it to be like the parents know everything. You got to make them a little bit, silly. Yeah. But this one, the mayor is a complete imbecile.
Yeah, I like all of the adults in this are written too over the top. You can't. Yes. Like the original ones were 90s over the top, which is like 10% out of reality.
Yeah.
Like you just barely out of reality. These are like dialed to 11. Like you're like literally no one is. And the other thing is, and we'll get to this with this. Oh, whoops. With the sisters coming back, they've been to modern times before. There was a Walgreens that had a sliding open door back in the 90s. Like they're older than when they came back.
Yeah. Well, they can't help the age. They can't help the age thing.
Hey, man, Disney made, they de-aged Samuel Jackson and stuff like that. They could have.
Well, I'm glad they didn't. Let me put it this way. I'm glad they didn't, because I think that would have been a slap in the face to the actresses too. So iconic, and just
I agree with that aspect. The fish out of water was too over the top.
Man, but my favorite scene in this movie is when they go into the Walgreens.
When they're eating the bath salts?
When they are eating the face stuff, retinol. What a beautiful name for a child. Like, that is my favorite scene. And then, after that, when they decide to ride the brooms, and it's taken to the modern era, and instead of a mop and a vacuum cleaner, they get a Swiffer and the room.
I love that the one person has on those like razor things, like they're doing the two. It was like, have you seen Highlander Evolutions? I think the second Highlander film, they ride on those two little light disc things. It just reminded me of that.
I will say that scene was the whole Walgreens scene is my favorite in the entire movie.
Well, yeah, because it had the most amount of like practical humor.
Yes,
it was just like sight gags and stuff like that. It was
because it's been 20 years, so it totally makes sense that some things have changed. I love she holds up the face mask. Oh, it's the face of a child.
Now,
And the filter in the phone. So again, bringing in that new era where they think that the powders and everything have worked, not realizing that the picture was, filtered.
yeah. Now, I will say this is the scene from the song number, which I'm glad they brought a song number back. I think that was a great part of the first one. But they couldn't get an original song?
Well, I had asked
Like,
my sister-in-law about that too, because she adores Hocus Pocus and grew up with it. And I'm like, this seems kind of weird to me that they're singing this song. She's like, well, in the original one, because I totally forgot, she said in the original one, they also sang a more modern song, if you will, for the fact that they are ancient witches. So I guess that, but this seemed a little
it didn't go on the
bizarre.
same way as I Put a Spell on You.
Yeah, this
That, like,
seemed,
works on to this thing.
this looked like old people trying to be cool.
Yeah, that's what, like, and I'm not gonna bring up anything about this show itself. I know some people brought in stuff about that. I don't care with what the show was.
Okay.
You look at me. You look at me curious. The fact that it was drag queens.
Oh. Well, the thing is, if you're willing to watch Disney, then you're gonna have to put up with crap and diversity
And the other thing is,
and
I'm the type
weird
of person that actually do
things.
like Rocky Horror Picture Shows. So
Yeah. Or, and I don't want to put down. I said crap. I said weird stuff. I said diversity. I don't want to say that they're all necessarily in the same niche. What I'm saying is, like, if you're going to be willing to watch new Disney stuff, you're going to be willing to watch stuff you do not agree with, you do not like. So it's not
yeah,
surprising that
yeah,
that's in there. Disney's a big supporter of these niches. So
yeah. Just be aware of it if
you
you have
have to
young kids
be,
and you don't
yeah,
want to have them see that.
right.
No comment on the act itself right now here.
Right. Personal preferences aside, basically.
I will say it does not hold a candle to the other song sequence with the family, because guess what? Your emotional connection to the family made you worry about the parents. I
Yeah.
wasn't worried about the mayor.
No, because you
Like,
hated the
there's
mayor.
yeah, there's none of those adults you cared about. There's no connection to
Yeah.
anything to make you have attention or any stakes.
Yeah.
So it was sort of just like, oh, here's a mindless army. It's like the Chitauri from Avengers.
Exactly.
This was my favorite part of the film.
Really? I couldn't stand that guy.
Well, it matches with the original, and at least having something to kind of put on the fact that this was all dumb. Like he didn't want to be there. He didn't want to be in the first one when he got his
Okay.
mouth open up. Like he's like, let me go back to bed. Like that was his like whole thing, and that was the way he was in the first one. He was waiting to get his mouth cut open, and finally it's like, oh, been so long. I can finally. I felt for him.
I didn't like the fact that he could talk so clearly, being honest. And again, I know it's a kids movie, they don't want it to be scary, but the fact that he could, I mean, he's old, he's dead. Like he couldn't mumble a little bit or gargle something. I mean,
Yeah.
his skin is falling, like sloughing off his face, right? But his vocal cords are superb. That part I would have liked to have a little bit of like something in the throat. A little zombie-ish take in the voice would have been nice.
I understand. Like I said, we weren't commenting on any of the acts itself. We were just saying,
Just stating a fact, you're going to
yeah,
be watching the new Disney. You're going to be having a lot of things that didn't used to be in Disney or as blatant in Disney.
yeah. And I don't know if I've seen you here before, but hello, the Spider Master. Hi.
Welcome.
Yeah, I agree. I'm glad they brought us back as many original characters. I would have loved if they had Binks back, the actor. I know he does NCIS. I don't know if he's still on it.
McGee.
I would have loved to have him back, even if it was like a different cameo coming in as one of the kids' parents.
Or like a picture in the background of the magic shop or something.
Yeah. Yeah. Because you saw the cat, right? You saw the black cat as the pet for and it's sort of like you got everyone else. And I can understand McGee has got more money. Like he's set, he's got his NCIS.
I mean,
residuals.
really, who wants to pass up Disney though? Let's just be real. Depending on who you are, but I'm just saying, like, I know there's a lot of budget cuts and things like that, but like Disney, I'm just saying it. Royalty checks, like for Disney, I would think that'd be pretty good.
I also think that this movie, and I'm going to say this is unfair at the time. This movie, you shouldn't be comparing it to other streaming films. You should be comparing it to 90s live action Disney movies. Because
Well,
if you
especially
compare it,
since it's a sequel, yeah.
yeah, but you shouldn't compare it to like The Extraction, or you shouldn't compare it to like Terminal List or something like that, or the Tomorrow War. Like
Mhm.
this is a Disney straight to DVD film, and I think a lot of people have been giving it too much on the like production side. It's
Mhm.
like, dude, this is basically just barely better than a kids show. Like it's
Right.
just a little bit more budget than a kids TV show. Like
Mhm.
it's not the same thing. And I think streaming has kind of adjusted people's perspective of what's coming straight to your
Yeah. I just
home.
it has for me just watching some of what they produced, yeah.
Um,
Mhm. I did
it would,
hear that the girl, I forget what her name is, but the actress who played as the girl in the first movie, the little girl,
yeah,
that apparently she wanted to come back, but they wouldn't bring her on.
that's
That's what I heard.
that's just short sighted on Disney's, and I you could have brought her in easily just as like
Yeah.
walking through, not anything big, and it would have been
Right.
like it would have been the jangling keys, as some of our friends like to say, but it still would have been
But that would have been
nice.
appropriate, right? For a
Yeah,
sequel like this. I mean, The Jangling Keys is already Bette Midler and just Sarah Jessica Parker and everything like that. So, I mean, you already have the original characters. It would have been so cool and very much in taste with sequels, especially from like the 90s and stuff like that. If, man, if she, I forget what her name is, but if that little girl, she would have been an adult now and they would have been like, we need somebody to who knows what this is like and something that connects it. Let's just say that little girl grew up to be a folk storyteller or something, and they kind of like in Ghostbusters Afterlife, they found her number and they were like, you were a witness to this, what do we do? You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Like something like that would have been really cool. It didn't have to be a
Well,
big part, but
that was the other thing I think, and this is also because it's meant for a younger audience. There were answers came too quickly.
right. Well, but is it
Uh,
really meant for a younger audience though? Because this is nostalgia bait, you know? Is it
Yeah,
really for younger audiences? It
the
kinda
way it's
is,
written,
but
the way it's written is like if it was meant for people our age,
yeah,
I would have aged it up then and not made it so campy. I would have put it on the better line of like an Evil Dead,
okay.
campy but still having some scares to it. This
Mhm.
didn't really have anything that could scare you. Now in the first one, they were going to eat kids. Like how do we go from the what they show you as the young Sanderson sisters who want to just stay together and be all happy to, well, let's eat some kids so we can stay young forever.
Right, typical witch lore thing, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, what's her name?
Danny, yeah.
I never trust a person with a personal thing, never trust a female with a male name.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. It's just a thing. But so we had Billy back, and so now we're getting to the end of the film, and we're getting the fact that this was the thing that the book, right? Book or whatever. It's aware, it's got an
Mhm.
intelligence to it, right?
Yeah.
And this is where you got me, like bringing in the fact that the book is not like this all evil thing.
Right,
Why?
it suddenly develops a conscience.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
where was it the first time around then?
Right,
I
right,
was
when things were a little more serious back then, yeah.
completely okay back then to go eat those kids, man. They deserved it. There was the 90s. Those were some rough kids. But now that we're in the new era, we're in 2022. Those are some soft kids. Let's be nice. Let's
Well,
have the
he had
book
a lot
be,
of time to think,
yeah,
being
like he's not gonna be all inclusive. He's not gonna take everyone's
Mhm.
souls. He's not gonna eat everyone's kid. No, no, no. We're done with that.
Yeah.
We had our fill. Um, the
The
book
book
was the
was the
best.
best,
Yes,
it did
yes,
put a lot of emotion in just one eye, let me tell you.
yeah. That blink was that tear. Oh wow. But so we got the typical Disney fashion where there's a passing of the torch, which is happening. I doubt there'll be a Hocus Pocus 3, since now the book is good. I don't know how you.
Well, see, but here's the thing, they passed the torch, but they didn't really pass the torch because these are now what, good witches?
Yeah,
What was
which
the point of that? This had nothing to do with like converting into good witches. This had to do with conquering evil. So,
and how do we know the book? The book is now Well, the book was evil. You're going to
Yeah.
tell me that all of the things that the book did for 200, 300 years, whatever it was, are
Mhm.
now wiped clean? Like, oh, I changed my mind. I'm going to go be on the good side. And
Yeah. Well, and
it's,
now you've also created the other conundrum. It's like, okay, so these girls are good witches, right? Apparently, now at the end of the movie. And so what's society going to say about them? What are they going to do with these new powers? Are their parents going to cast them out too? Um,
yeah, like it's not a,
and they're
I agree with,
teenagers. You think they're just going to use it for good? Please, please.
I kind of agree. They should have done this. The book should have been handled the way Jumanji is, where
Mm,
like you get the book and you got to get rid of it.
yeah, burn it,
Like,
something.
like now the book could have had sympathy for her,
Mhm.
right? But why? There's no emotional stakes wrapped up around these people. There's nothing beyond
Yeah,
themselves.
right.
There's no further. It's
Instead
just
of
so
them
shallow.
becoming witches, it should have been like, we need this time to kind of like a Horcrux in Harry
Yeah,
Potter. They should have tried to destroy the book
yeah.
because
They
if they
should
could
have.
destroy the book, then they would destroy the witches or something like that.
Yeah, it just became like, I guess shallow is the best term. There's
Yeah.
nothing besides the surface level for this, and you know
No
we get
consequences for your actions either.
to the end, and the biggest thing here, spoilers ahead and all that, her sisters die. To have her stay alive,
They
her
were
sister,
Thanos snapped.
yeah, it was decimated. Like it, and so the actual, like the most impactful scene, and I agree with this, her
Mhm.
losing her sisters is
Yes.
very powerful.
Yeah.
But where's the buildup?
Yeah.
This whole thing is based off the younger actors in the beginning, which we had no recollection of. And in the prior film, she was just tolerant of her sisters.
Hmm.
There was no like, oh, I love them. She was the older sister with two dumb younger sisters,
Yeah.
and she's just like too cool for you. Follow my lead.
Yeah.
So I
So you have this thing of almost like personal development, but there were no proper steps to personal development. And they're, and I know that the witches are basically childlike, silly adults, which is supposed to be the comedic aspect. And of course, they did a fantastic job doing that. And yeah, it pulls on your heart. You do. I mean, I did kind of feel bad for her. They're good actors, right? Bette Midler and all that.
yeah.
They've been doing this for decades. Like, so I did. I felt bad. I'm like, what are they going to do? Like, she lost her sisters and she's a bad person. She should stay separated from her sisters as a consequence of her actions. Maybe this will help her reflect and be like, oh my gosh, I've been a horrible person. But I wasn't expecting for this like mediocre happy ending where, oh, she saw the error of her ways. We took her sisters away for a little bit, but it's okay. It's all going to work out. They're all going to be reunited anyway. All
I
right.
it's just it's modern storytelling for the most part.
Yeah.
Can't have a black and white. It can't be
Yeah.
good evil. It can't. It's just
Mhm.
everything is. We're going to be gray everywhere,
I mean, you
right?
think about Maleficent in Sleeping Beauty. I mean, she died.
Yeah,
She died. She had to
Ursula.
die, and she did die. And Ursula, she had to die, and she did die. The witch from Snow White. Like,
All of the original Disney villains get their comeuppance.
yeah.
Like they deserve it.
Hmm.
Okay, so here's the thing: the way they show this, if you look at the three sisters, they were bratty as all hell. Like they were.
They
They
wanted
were.
to be bad. It wasn't
Yeah,
so much that society rejected them. They were already rebels at heart.
yeah. They were going against the grain from the beginning.
Mhm.
Now, did they deserve? First of all, like I bring back the parents thing. Did they take the parents out or something? Like, part of me thinks that like they just like, you know what? We're gonna try and do the spell. What do we need? All right, we need a heart and an eye. All right, well, mom and dad are sleeping. Let's get that
Yes.
heart.
See,
Like
if we would have had the lesson of the turmoil of how they became witches, not because and I understand, like I'm not going to go on this rant and rave, but as a devout, I don't know how you want to word it. Like I'm a follower of Christ. People could say you're uber religious, devout follower, whatever the case might be. But they really, and I know Puritans were way off the mark back in the day, but they really painted them as these idiots, right?
yes, And
And I didn't
also,
appreciate that. Not again, I don't agree with Puritans, and I don't believe they should have
yeah,
been burning all those women. Like please don't
yeah,
misunderstand. But I'm just like, they do this all the time. It's just like religious nutbags, right? So obviously they didn't want to have anything to do with them. It had nothing to do with the girls and everything to do with the village. But like,
you have to tell me at that point in time, in those type of small knit communities, if something happened to their parents, the community wouldn't go and help them. I just can't
exactly.
see that at that point in time with the faith structure they had back then.
Yeah.
I can't see three children being left to fend for themselves.
Right.
Now, I could understand Winifred because she was almost adulthood.
Hmm.
That's where they were coming. Hey,
Yeah.
marry into the family.
Hmm.
Now,
But they
it's
didn't notice anything suspicious about her before they already
yeah,
like exactly. Or one of those things it
yeah,
should have again, I'm drawing from Harry Potter here, but like with with Tom when he was in the orphanage. Your heart
yeah,
kind of goes out to him because like man, he had a horrible upbringing. Dumbledore tried to rescue him, but he turned away anyway. With this again, the girls are already determined that they're bad people. They're not going to do anything better. There's no turmoil, there's no structure. And then you've got the religious idiots against them in a goofy way.
and it's too, your suspension of disbelief is gone there for me
Yeah.
because you could make them be um too extreme. That's
Mhm.
fine. You can show
Yeah.
that, but there's still people of a faith, which means they would be compassionate.
Or at least you would have because in every religious group, it doesn't matter which denomination, you're going to have unfortunately, you're going to have a division because folks is folks, right? So you could have had and that would have been the poll too. You would have had the ones that wanted to save the children, or like let's say they would have lived with a woman who had a heart for them because their parents died, and
Yeah,
she did everything she could to try to convert them, and they turned on her. Like
yeah,
you said, like maybe they needed a heart. They're like, hey, she's not our mom. We could take and then the village came against the girls. We would all believe that.
yeah,
That would be great. Well, it wouldn't be great, but you know what I mean. It would be great.
yeah, yeah. The I think if they spent like another 20 minutes with the kids
Yes.
and expanded that story and then just had the older witches come back and do less of the
Mhm.
new
Yeah.
three witches, I think you would have had a more
Mhm.
full movie with a
Yeah.
better
Better
eight.
storytelling.
Yeah, because then you could have just had the witches come back and the three new girls be more like of practical magic or something like that, like more of that type of thing, and
Mhm.
then have the witches being like, because it would have been better if this Winifred came back and she needs to get her two sisters back.
But see, then the dynamic is kind of lost with the whole
Yeah, but that's the point of her in the
yeah,
beginning. She did everything for her two sisters,
it's
and you
true.
have you just reverse the
Yeah.
hero, so to speak, and have
Mhm.
Winifred trying to get the book to bring her sister back, and then she makes the epiphany. She doesn't need to bring them back; she needs to go to them. If you want to do
Yeah.
that type of storyline, then you could have done it without having the three new witches. You
Yeah.
could have done the same story with the same point and have it been tighter,
Yeah.
but you needed to have the three new
Mhm.
witches. I don't know.
Yeah, I think there could have been a lot done with the storytelling to make it deeper because a lot of Disney movies I notice nowadays, again with the family dynamic, but they're very shallow stories. Because the whole when we know we live in this era now of we don't want to offend, we don't want to have structure, we don't want to have clear cut right versus wrong, and we always want a happy ending with everybody happy, you know. And that's just not good storytelling. It's
No.
not. Sorry, it's not.
So we'll break down some of the things that I'm curious about. What do you think about the score, like music? Anything memorable besides the song number?
Um, Not really. I mean, I watched it just the one time, but I can't say that I was humming any ditties necessarily. I will say, yeah, the because Bette Midler just got that flair. I will be saying that sometimes I even now, honestly, it's in my head. Like when there's gaps in our conversation, I can hear just like "Getcha," like I can hear,
I
I hear it in my head.
I feel bad for Sarah Jessica Parker's character because I think she had a lot more in the first movie than this film, and I think it's because of the age, like of her aging up.
Mhm.
Like I would have loved to seen a comparative to the devil scene in the first one where you had the guy in the Halloween party.
Oh,
I would have loved like a comparison scene to that just to have the because I felt the comedy didn't have enough to do with the environment fully. It just had to do with Walgreens, but it didn't have to do with like the people in the town.
yeah. Yeah, I can see that. Mhm.
And I'm sorry, I'm bringing up people's comments, but we did have Jay Drunk 3PO prop in with some eyeballs. I'm not sure what the eyeballs are meaning.
He's looking at Zort's new hat over there.
He saw it the other day.
Well, you know what? Sometimes when something's just that pretty, you got to look at it twice. It
And
is pretty cool.
it's for a cat.
It's great.
Rob saying is all right. So that's part of the audience, right? A 10-year-old girl would be prime audience for this, or 30-year-old person with cats. I don't know.
Why is it got cats?
I could say dogs. I don't know.
It's a stereotype.
I have a dog. I
Like,
want to bring my dog into this.
we're nerds. We know what stereotypes mean. We got it. We feel you.
So, like I said, this so I'm curious now. Like I said, I described in the beginning. What would be your wait time? You wanted me to wear my derby hat? I'm sorry.
I like this hat. Leave him alone. He looks good.
So for those that just joined in, my wait time scale is walk on means you hated the film and you want to get away as quickly as possible, and anything above an hour means you adored it and you'd be willing to suffer and possibly have your bladder blow. I don't know.
So this is a difficult system for me to go by because I'm looking at it from a different point of view. Like it's like I've already seen the movie, so gosh, of course I wouldn't necessarily wait time. But let me put it to you this way: since we're doing theme park vibes and themes and stuff like that, this movie meant a lot to my sister-in-law, and she was super excited to see this movie. And being family folk that we are up here in tree folk country, I would wait. As a family, I would have gladly waited an hour or 2 hours to see this movie because I enjoyed the first one, just because it would have been a memory made together. And I will honestly say that this is a movie with its faults with it. I would watch this again. I would watch this every year around fall with my family because it's a fun fall movie is how I look at that. So I would wait an hour or two to watch this with family.
All right. How long would you wait for the first one?
I'd wait an hour without family.
So an hour or two with family. The first one's an hour without family.
Yes, because I do like the first one better. But these are not my movies.
Like, they're not your movies.
I didn't grow. I don't have nostalgia. I don't have nostalgia attached to this. I take it at face value. And I did like the first one, and I would gladly watch it once a year in the fall.
Okay. My personal wait time, I'll say for the first movie, that is the 45-minute to an hour wait for me. I do really like it. I think it's got great heart, and that's what I feel like this movie is missing in the most part is heart.
Mm-hmm.
That, and I think it's just the time of things where family isn't the driving factor of things.
Right.
And that might be why it didn't connect. The nostalgia went away when you didn't have that family dynamic and the family unit and the tension around that. I love my friends, but there's a different thing if I feel that my family is in danger and a friend's in danger.
Well, you would have that conflict, yeah.
Yeah. And that would have been maybe making one of them into a sister. So you had two sisters and then the outside friend, actually having that where you would have that Sophie's Choice at the end with Winifred, where she would have the good friend and the sister, and you have to make that dilemma. That would have made the movie a lot better because you would have had stakes. There were no stakes for the heroes. Besides, like, oh, the world is going to end somehow. Okay.
I will say on my own, since for the second movie, if I was going to stand alone, I would wait. Being honest, I would wait a half an hour to 45 minutes by myself for the second one.
Oh, half an hour to 45 minutes. I'm going to say half an hour is max for the second one for me. That will be my max wait time. I hope this people y'all understand this. Like I said, if I do any more of these, we will use that wait time scenario.
I have a tendency to overcomplicate and overthink things, so that's why when you ask me that question, I'm like, "Well, it depends. Am I with my family? What are we doing? Like, are we gonna bring popcorn and wait in the line? Like, so that's sorry, my bad.
Maybe I'll overcomplicate even more. Will you buy a lightning lane for this movie?
No.
There you
that
go.
Was easy. That was easy for me. No.
There you go, people.
Not for the first one, not for the second one.
We have Dreaming Tabitha's points. She will not buy a lightning lane for either of these films. They ain't even worth $15. All right. Oh, $22 now. So, Tabitha, what do you have coming up in the future? Where can people find you? Plug away, please.
Yeah, so you can find me at Dreaming Tabitha on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. Very consistent. Don't follow me on Twitter. I don't recommend it. But I'm going to be doing a live stream on my own channel this evening. I'm continuing a series of character crossovers. And my last one was Indiana Jones overlapping Stargate. And lately I have been doing Winnie the Pooh as well. You might just need to come to the live stream. Check that out. So we're Winnie the Pooh crossover characters. And yeah, I just kind of been live streaming. I've got a color challenge video that should hopefully be coming out tomorrow. So if you want to come over, subscribe, you can get notified of when I upload my videos.
All our links are in the descriptions. Just click her channel name. It'll bring you straight to her channel, her Twitter, her Patreon, her Etsy, everything I could find. If I'm missing anything, it'll be in there later. But I thank you again for joining me for this. It's my first review type thing for movies, so I appreciate having a I'm
reading through the
chat. We have yes, and of course he breaks my concentration. Thank you, Jay.
I'm sorry. I read it.
Yes. So thank you all for joining. This probably about around the time for this type of movies, unless there's a really good conversation, and this movie wasn't that good to garner that type of discussion. So, okay. I will start bringing these in maybe every so often when I find it appropriate for the thing. And Tabitha, you're always welcome. You are an amazing artist, and you have a great perspective because you're not entrenched in the lore. Yeah. Oh, JT comes in at the end.
Of course he does. He's as bad as Whitey's Wicked Workshop.
Hey JT, we're just ending right now. But just because JT came in and he's here, so you know his favorite clip. The tree touched me.
It's like the Blair Witch Project for some reason.
And you can get a Tree Touched Me on my TeePublic, which is in my link tree. So if you want a Tree Touched Me, I know it's a weird shirt, but hey,
support the channel.
I want to thank everyone for coming and watching, and thank you for. Sorry, I was late. Oh, thank you, Kelly. Yes, I want to thank everyone. You guys are awesome. And I hope you all have one wonderful time. And go over to Dreaming Tabitha and watch her paint a crossover that I don't understand what's even going to happen yet. I can't, it's just a surprise. And what's better than surprise? Nothing.
Knowing,
but knowing's half the battle.
This is a motto of mine.
All right. Don't be afraid to be the fool, guys. Have fun on your vacations and look forward to a future Rogue review with another guest in the future, maybe for something coming out soon. Who knows? But I will put a community tab up, post, and see how you guys want to do this. Later, everyone. Bye.